Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay Black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Hey folks, today's Thursday, October 23rd, 2025, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Millions of families soon going to be losing SNAP benefits because of Republican cuts in the government shutdown. We'll talk about that impact on today's show. The Senate voted again. Government still shut down. We'll be joined by Senator Raphael Warnock to talk about why Democrats are locking and loading when it comes to the issue of health care. A white Democratic senator in North Carolina lays into Republicans for their racist gerrymander map. Will show you his speech. Plus, Trump's Department of Justice, they don't give a damn about Black people. They don't give a damn about civil rights. So they are putting on hold a couple of lawsuits dealing with the prison system in South Carolina and Louisiana, where, again, the civil rights of folks, mainly African Americans, are being jeopardized. A lot to talk about. Also, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated investigating a case of alleged hazing at Southern University. We'll tell you about that as well. Delta Sigma Theta, one of their national presidents, Dr. Pauline Walker, passed away. Her mega service is being held today. And the AKAs give a huge contribution to Howard University. We'll tell you about that as well. It's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time. And it's rolling.
Okay, folks, day 23 of the government shutdown, and it's impacting everyone. SNAP benefits are really going to be impacted. Some 40 million Americans that depend upon SNAP benefits could be facing delays. Washington has resolved the shutdown, or that money is not going to go out, and people will be going hungry. Peggy Bailey is Executive Vice President of Policy and Programs at the Center on Budget and Policy. Peggy, glad to have you on the show. Just talk about, again, how significant this is, and what parts of the country are we talking about? Who is going to be impacted the most?
Sure. Thanks for having me here. So it's the entire country that's going to be impacted by this. Like you said, it's about 40 million families, people in families that depend on SNAP benefits. We're talking about 10 million Black people that depend on SNAP, around 10 million Latinx folks that depend on SNAP. And it's not about red or blue America or Democrats or Republicans. This is people across the country who have their SNAP benefits under threat right now. And it's not necessarily because of the shutdown, right? There are contingency funds available for USDA, the Department of Agriculture, to put these benefits on people's SNAP benefit cards so that they can have food in the month of November. And it's not just a choice that the administration has. This is by law. The administration should be making these benefits available to families for next month.
Well, let's be real clear. Republicans, they want to cut SNAP as much as they can. So that's been their goal.
Well, it is really unfortunate that in the reconciliation bill that passed in July, that's exactly what Congress and the administration did. They not only are trying to restrict benefits to people, but shifting a lot of costs to the states, and which is going to put SNAP at risk for people. They may not have food assistance if their state can't pay the additional costs that the federal government has just unexpectedly thrown at them. That'll start to build up for them next year.
Okay, so for people who don't quite understand what we're talking about, because when you listen to Republicans talk about this, they make it sound like that people are just getting fat off of SNAP benefits. What's the average SNAP benefit of a family in this country?
The average SNAP benefit is about $6 per person per meal. So no one is getting rich off of SNAP, where SNAP just helps people meet their basic needs of food. And not only just that, we know that if a family has to choose between food and rent or medicine, SNAP benefits can be the foundation for helping a family just be able to make it through any day and avoid evictions.
Okay, so you said $6 per person per meal, but how much are we talking about per month or per week, so people understand what we're talking about here?
Sure. So if you take the average family of three, oftentimes a single mom and two kids, you've got then you've got about what's that, like $18 times three. So you've got close to $50 that a family might have in a day. So you're talking about just a few $100s a week that families have to buy groceries.
And the reason I wanted that number, because again, the perception, the way it's described, it's like, oh my God, these people are just stealing from the program. And you hear our Republicans yell is waste, fraud, and abuse, waste, fraud, and abuse. And my understanding is that the SNAP program has one of the lowest fraud abuse rates out of all government programs in the country.
Right, exactly. Republicans try to make it sound like there's all these errors and mistakes in SNAP, but that's a misnomer. Actually, what states are doing is tracking when people might accidentally put in the wrong information in the website, or their benefits get calculated incorrectly, but states correct for those in almost real time. So there's not a bunch of waste, fraud, and abuse. The worst thing that happens actually is what we call EBT card skimming, where criminals are taking money away from families who need help because they're able to skim off of the debit cards that families use. And states are finding ways to prohibit that. And we think the federal government should do more to back up states to protect families against that kind of fraud. But it's not the families in need that are causing any problems. At worst, it's these folks that are skimming EBT cards that we can also do more to protect against.
And one of the other things that are frustrating, we talk about again how this is framed, is when you listen to their complaining, then it's like, well, they shouldn't be buying soda, they shouldn't be buying chips, and you're like, and it's like, whoa, they were buying shrimp and lobster. I mean, how elitist and arrogant it is, because these are the same folks who fought the Healthy Initiative of First Lady Michelle Obama. So now all of a sudden it's, now we care about nutritious meals.
Exactly. It's just trying to create barriers for families that are simply trying to eat on a given day, and putting and also, there's some racism underneath that of trying to say that these families don't know how to properly feed their families, don't know what proper nutrition is, and therefore we have to make sure that they do that, and we have to be and we have to tell families how they're supposed to eat. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Why do we make poor families jump through these ridiculous hoops to prove that they need assistance or to prove that they know how to take care of themselves? We've been taking care of ourselves for hundreds and thousands of years, and we'll keep doing it. And we don't need to be told by the government what we can and can't eat.
Absolutely. So what is the drop date? Is it November 1st?
So November 1st is where we're most concerned. And then the administration needs to act now and stop playing with folks and their food. They can say right now that they can use the contingency reserve fund to fill in the gap for November to help families be able to eat. Now, the administration has said that there's not enough money. We need about $8 billion to fill in the gap for November. And there's not enough money in the contingency fund. But the administration also has other tools, and not extraordinary tools that are still within the Department of Agriculture to be able to transfer funds to SNAP so that families will have their full benefits for November. But November 1st is the deadline that we're looking at right now.
Okay, when you said $8 billion?
It's about $8 billion a month for SNAP benefits. So the administration needs to fill an $8 billion
so basically, the $40 billion we sent to Argentina could fund the program for the next 5 months.
And they don't even have to do anything that extraordinary. All they have to do is use the funds that are available in the Department of Agriculture to fill in that gap.
All right, then. Well, Peggy, we appreciate it, and we'll see what happens. But it's not like this administration gives a damn about poor people. They've shown that repeatedly over and over and over again. Thanks a lot.
All right, appreciate you raising up this issue.
All right, folks, going to go to a break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network. Back in a moment.
Gave Nicole an excellent education. They helped her become a small business owner, family financial planner, mother, and community leader. Now, after 4 years on the Spotsylvania School Board, Nicole is running for delegate to meet the needs of all students. As our delegate, Nicole will fully fund our schools, raise teacher salaries, and help graduating students stay in our communities. Nicole Cole for delegate. For us, for our future.
In the military, I gave orders. And they went a lot further than they do around here. If there's one thing I've learned as a mom and foster parent of more kids than I can count, investing in their future isn't a choice. In Richmond, I'll fight for Stafford's fair share for our schools. Smaller class sizes, better teacher pay, and more vocational training.
I'm Stacey Carroll, and I'll fight to get our kids' future in order. Josh Cole became a pastor and delegate to serve his community. That's why Josh is fighting to lower costs for families hurting from inflation and make sure we can all afford quality health care. But Sean Steinway has embraced his MAGA backers who support Trump's mass firing of federal workers and the MAGA plan to ban abortion with no exceptions. We deserve better than Sean Steinway.
I'm Josh Cole, candidate for delegate, and I sponsored this ad.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. Why the America we live in today is not what the founders intended or what they outlined in the Declaration of Independence and even the Constitution. Professor and author Kermit Roosevelt will join us to talk about his book, The Nation That Never Was. How history was misinterpreted, the intent and realities of America's beginnings, and missed a much better story in the process.
So if you have to pick some group to marginalize, I think it should be the people who are against equality.
That's next on the Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
Afrotech, it's a lot of beauty, a lot of brilliance, a lot of intellect, a lot of innovation.
Companies that are most diverse are more profitable.
We're getting culture, we're getting community, we're getting the best of the best. And not only are we here to greet each other, but we're here to network and to elevate each other.
Everybody from all the major tech companies here, and that means that now everybody's in the same domain.
This is the premier event every year.
This is really where we could take off. You can go fast by yourself, but we go farther together.
This is where you're supposed to be.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shutdown.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
Now that Roland Martin is willing to give me the blueprint, hey, Cyrus, I need to go to Tyler Perry and get another blueprint because I need some green money. The only way I can do what I'm doing, I need to make some money. So you'll see me working with Roland. Matter of fact, it's the Roland Martin and Cheryl Underwood show. Well, should it be the Cheryl Underwood show and the Roland Martin show? Well, whatever show it's going to be good.
All right, folks, we talk about this government shutdown, and one of the things that just really jumps out to me the most is how these folk who, I just love these MAGA people who act like, this was never gonna impact them. Take National Park Service mechanic James Jones. He testified before lawmakers about how his friends say they voted for Trump not to see all of these things happen. And I'm going, well, what the hell were you and your friends paying attention to? Because we all heard him say these things. Roll it.
My district went for Trump both in 2016 and 2024, and a lot of my friends supported him. But lately they're saying I didn't vote for this. They didn't vote for the parks to close or to be short-staffed, health care costs to skyrocket, and veterans to lose care or have delayed care, and for tens of thousands of federal employees to be at risk of losing their jobs. Another thing I want to address is the unconstitutional executive overreach of this administration. I asked the Democratic Party to defend and support public services through adequate funding established by Congress and ensure those funds are spent efficiently and wisely and protect the power of the purse. As I said earlier, I'm an AFG member, Local 446. I would love this party to defend our unions and our collective bargaining agreements that this administration has sought to destroy and eliminate. In fact, it's even in the law. 5 U.S.C. 71, Congress found that collective bargaining safeguards the public interest, contributes to the effective conduct of public business, and facilitates and encourages the amicable settlement of disputes between employees and their employers concerning conditions of employment. Congress has determined that labor unions and collective bargaining in the federal service are in fact in the public interest. I ask that we could pass legislation that reverses Trump's executive order terminating collective bargaining agreements with agencies as the VA, such as the VA, the DOD, EPA, and so on. Protect official time and the use of agency facilities for union officials to represent employees as outlined in many collective bargaining agreements, and protect payroll dues deductions that this administration has eliminated.
All your friends and neighbors, I didn't vote for this. You did. You just didn't think it was going to impact you. You thought it was going to be them black and brown people. All right, y'all, my panel. Reese Colbert, host of the Reese Colbert Show, Sirius XM Radio, Washington, D.C. Dr. Greg Carr, Department of Afro-American Studies at Howard University out of D.C. And also alleged Gumbo Queen, Dr. Nola Haynes, Georgetown University School of Foreign Service, D.C. as well. Why does Sourpuss look? I don't understand why.
I'm just waiting for it.
Why your lip all turned up and everything? Golly, I mean.
When you made me last, I knew it was coming. So just go ahead, get on my.
What you mean when I made you last? Why? You have to go first?
No. Let's just get to the news.
No, I'm just saying, like, what? But it's three people. I mix it up. Reese go first. It's three people. Greg in the middle. You last. You may be first. Reese last. So mix it up.
Yeah. Okay.
So touchy. So touchy. So touchy. All right, Reese, I'll start with you. Since the Gumbo Queen want to go there. I'll start with you, Reese. This is what keeps cracking me up. I don't want to hear jack from these people. I was like, oh my God, this. We didn't vote for this. I mean, all the podcast bros, all Andrew Schultz and Theo Vaughn, and this is not. Oh, Theo. Oh, your dad's Nicaraguan. Oh, so now you recognize that? So all these different people, all these Cubans out here. Trump's like, yeah, y'all can go to hell too. Okay, cutting off benefits. Y'all can't send money back. Now y'all sitting there whining, complaining. Oh, you're Venezuelans. He think all of y'all are drug dealers. And a bunch of them voted for him in Florida. So I really don't give a damn.
Look, I'm going to go a step beyond. Have the day you voted for, bitch, and say have the job you voted for, have the meal you voted for, have the freedom you voted for. Because the problem was these people thought that they were signing the demise of the they-thems, the blacks, and whoever else they deemed to be not worthy of full citizenship and participation in the economic advancement and just the freedom to move around the country. You were signing your own death warrant, because when millions of y'all lose health care, when millions of y'all can't put food on the table, or hell, when the planet has a 50-year shorter expiration date because of this damn administration, you did this with your vote. The reality is that Trump and the Republicans put forth Project 2025. And usually when you run, you try to put forth the rosiest picture. So the best case scenario was Project 2025, was crippling the federal government, was implementing cruelty in every facet of our society. So you should have been prepared for the worst case scenario, which is what we're living in right now. The economy is fucked up, the government is shut down, and there's still chaos around the world. And we have a not king, but an autocrat, a dictator who was taking a bulldozer to the damn White House. Congratulations, MAGA. This is what you voted for. And if you didn't think this is what was going to happen, you played yourself.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love these ranchers who now are just upset, Nola, because Trump sent $40 billion to Argentina, and now he's encouraging Argentina beef be bought, and Trump is like, you know, look, y'all should be thanking me. So I'm like, I really don't want to hear you complaining. This is what y'all voted for. Your dear leader told you all of this, and so whatever.
It is what it is. I mean, people self-select their information bubble, and a lot of these people are very specific about where they do watch their news and where they don't watch their news, because plenty of us were out there telling them this is what's going to happen, but they made a selective choice. They decided not to listen and to tune into spaces that were telling them things that they already wanted to hear. And so this is also another consequence of the information bubble. This is, yes, they got what they voted for, but you hear them say over and over, this isn't what we were voting for. This isn't what we thought it was going to be. Right, because you're listening to the same people intentionally lie to you. Like, you are comfortable in that space being lied to over and over and over. So for me, that's where I come in on the side of this. Like, people that are comfortable in just listening to the same people tell them the same things over and over again, I can't feel sorry for you, because you have zero intellectual curiosity about what's going on beyond the world, right? You know, beyond your immediate situation.
Yeah, I just don't want. I mean, here's the one that cracked me up. Donald Trump is literally saying to cattle ranchers, shut the hell up. This is what he posted. The cattle ranchers, who I love, don't understand that the only reason they are doing so well for the first time in decades is because I put tariffs on cattle coming into the United States, including a 50% tariff on Brazil. If it weren't for me, they would be doing just as they've done for the past 20 years. Terrible. It would be nice if they would understand that, but they also have to get their prices down, because the consumer is a very big factor in my thinking also. Basically, he's saying, y'all can really shut the hell up and kiss my ass. That's what he's saying, Greg. He's like, I don't care, you ingrates. That's what he's calling the cattle ranchers. And so all of them fools in Montana and Idaho and Kansas, Missouri, the farmers in Nebraska, you know, Pennsylvania, Michigan, all the places. He's like, whatever. And I'm sitting there going, I don't care if y'all go bankrupt. I don't care if y'all go broke, because this is what y'all wanted. You got exactly what you voted for.
You know, this is the challenge, isn't it? Well, for all of us, the challenge is we continue to try to make sense of something that has a lot of different moving parts and that doesn't make sense. And I'm saying this in the context of how we fight it. Let's take Donald Trump, for example. As the sun goes down here on the East Coast of the United States, every day Donald Trump sundowns. Anyone who's had anybody in their family, anybody who has had seen this up close, signs of dementia, Donald Trump is clearly mentally unwell. Nothing he says, nothing he writes or has commission to write, because I'm certain he didn't generate the AI of him dropping Dookie all over the United States last weekend, but I'm sure he dictated it. All of this is coming from the mind of a man who is clearly a diminished mental capacity. He then uses the delivery system of Truth Social, continuing to drive his Trump crime family enterprise, and having his lackeys, whether it be the FBI or Department of Defense, to do the same. So instead of press conferences with Propaganda Barbie, they drop everything on social media. All of this is destruction, not creative destruction, but more like demolition derby. When you then compound that with the fact that they are natural, purebred liars, not just the MAGA Muppet, Mike Johnson, whose lies now have gotten to the point where anytime he opens his mouth, everybody should just leave the room. But the idea that you would send something like that out from your diminished mental capacity about beef, at the same time, you had sent $40 billion to Argentina, as you reminded us a moment ago, and then want people to buy beef from Argentina while they got some hoof and mouth disease going on down there, then you know that there's chaos. But behind that chaos is absolutely an agenda that Donald Trump couldn't tell you if at the risk of his life. Chapter 10 of Project 2025 by Darren Bax on the Department of Agriculture lays out the plan. That nasty piece of work Russell Vogt at OMB, who Trump, laughing with the senators this week, called Darth Vader, he has sent the memorandum out. The cruelty is the point. In Chapter 10 of Project 2025, they talk about moving the benefits, the food benefits program, SNAP and other food benefits to the Department of Health and Human Services, where you've got a complete madman whose brain was eaten by a worm decades ago running the show. They also talk about implementing work requirements. So you can't eat until you work the way we want you to work. Well, we know where that goes. Since we've had full employment in this country up until 1865, it was called slavery. And finally, that agenda is the one that Trump is the delivery system for. Until they absolutely have to trigger the 25th Amendment because he's no longer able to even put together the incoherent sentences he's putting together now. That's why Junior Varsity Vance is there. They are going to ride this till the wheel come out. And then the news media, the commercial news media, is going to report it as if there is a policymaker in the office of the presidency. No, there isn't. And they're willing to have some collateral damage, including the literal collateral damage of destroying the East Wing of the White House on the way to their agenda. But we shouldn't be distracted by all this ranting and raving. That's not news. That's a sick man that needs to shut up.
Oh, I just love all of the double talk. Oh, listen to this one right here.
So I'm very happy about that. We're going to do something very quickly and easily on beef to get it down. The ranchers understand that. They're so happy for what I've done. I saved them. I don't think you'd have any beef in this country if I didn't do that. So we're very proud of that. Yeah, Brian?
How did you save them? I'm not quite so sure. Then, of course, you had the chief White House, the liar in chief, Carolyn Levitt. She actually, oh, no, what? Before I go to her, I just, I don't drink, but I don't mind MAGA wine. So let's go ahead and listen to one of these farmers, these ranchers from Nebraska with this, you know what, let me just go ahead. Where my hat at? So let me see, I'm just gonna go ahead and, I'm just gonna identify with him. Let me go ahead and just get my hat. Since these little cattle ranchers, they sitting here, they show up on TV, with the sun setting right, hitting the face, and they just looking all country. Let me go ahead and just play one of these, y'all. Here we go.
Well, I don't think it's a good idea. I think probably what you've heard a lot today is we should just allow our markets to dictate the price of beef, and there's a lot of factors in that. I think most people out here have the view that the government should just be pretty limited and not kind of meddle in the free markets.
Oh, so y'all want those nice free market governments. That's what y'all voted for? Trump gave y'all those free markets? Really? Okay. How are those free markets working out for you? Especially when he hooked up Scott Bassett's buddies in Argentina, who were going to lose their shirts with that $40 billion bailout. So let's just go ahead and see the chief liar of the United States, Carolyn Levitt. Here we go. Well, listen to this.
Ranchers who supported the president's election have raised some concerns about plans to import beef from Argentina. How will the Trump administration support those farmers?
Look, the president hears those concerns. He addressed them yesterday himself. President loves our ranchers, and our ranchers love our president. And in fact, the president did a lot for them in his first term here. They are struggling because of the many horrible policies of the previous administration.
Here we go. Let's put it on Biden. I don't recall the tariffs being what they were under Biden-Harris, so it's a little hard to pin the blame on them. And, oh, look what he did for them for last time. Last I checked, we had to bail out farmers to the tune of some $25 billion, Reese, in the last term. So, yeah, he screwed the idiots then, and they still voted for him a second time.
Well, first of all, a lot of this is karma because these same white farmers, they were the ones who sued to block the long overdue help that black farmers were supposed to get under the Biden-Harris administration. So y'all could go to hell. How about that? But last I checked, I had plenty of steaks under Joe Biden. I didn't hear the ranchers complaining about not being able to sell their beef around the country, around the world, rather. It is Donald Trump's heinous tariff policies where he has declared global economic warfare on every other economy by slapping on these arbitrary so-called reciprocal tariffs. And guess what? Other countries have economic power as well, and they told U.S. farmers, go to hell. We'll get our beef from other places. And so all of this is a crisis completely manufactured by Donald Trump. But you know what? Every MAGA supporter is completely aware that Donald Trump manufactures crisis for his own political benefit or just for shits and giggles, because there was no border crisis. There were all these crises that he ran on. They're eating the cats and the dogs, which wasn't true. And all these things that got all these people, oh, the trans people are coming to your bathrooms. They're coming to your sports. They're going to take all your gold medals. They love to be lied to. They love fake problems. Well, you have a problem when a president who creates problems that don't actually exist, and then he creates solutions to these problems that don't actually exist that fuck up what we already got going on. And so all of this is because you have a president, to Dr. Carr's point, is mentally diminished, but is running the ship. The inmates are not supposed to run the asylum. The nurse, the patient is out, except for there is no fucking nurse because the Republican Party is completely neutered. They've abdicated their oversight role, whether it's the Supreme Court, whether it's the Congress. And so the patient is running the whole country into the ground. And unfortunately, when that patient is the most powerful person in the world, everybody suffers. But the people who are shocked by this are the main ones that thought they were going to be just living high off the hog. Well, you are dumb because, as you like to say, Roland, hashtag we tried to tell you.
You know what? I just sometimes don't mind listening to stupid. Let's go and listen to stupid right here. Just stupid.
This man.
Farmers, are they going to be getting support from you soon? And
yeah, well, they do. So what's happened, you could say with that, you could say with beef, with all of it. The beef, the ranchers, let's say, who have done a great job, have lost their shirts for many, many years. They've really been decimated. And I helped them a lot. I put tariffs on things coming in to the country, including beef. And that gave them a chance to finally have a decent industry. We are going to be talking to them. They're great people, but they've been hurt for 25, 30 years. They've been losing because other countries have taken advantage of them. And by putting tariffs on, they've been able to make a few dollars. They've been able to have an industry. But I also want to keep the beef prices low. So I'll be talking with the ranchers, and I'll be speaking with a lot of different people, including Scott and Howard, and we'll do something. Because prices are way down in our country. Energy is way down. I think you're going to see $2 gasoline very soon. I see that it's $2.50 in a lot of places, $2.50. We were heading to $5, $6, and $7.
I got to stop that bullshit because he just lying. He lying his ass off. All them prices not down. He lying his ass off. But see, Nola, right here, you hear the stupidity. They need to keep prices low, but they can make a few dollars. And then what happens? He sits here and gives Argentina this money, and China, which ain't bought one damn soybean at all. And then China turned around and said, great. Appreciate you giving that money to Argentina. We go buy some Argentinian soybeans. And so now the fool is sitting here talking about we know the Argentina beef might be diseased, but we still might allow it into the United States. I mean, I'm sitting there going, you idiots got played. You got played, Nola, and they still running around, oh, come on, Donald, you gonna help us out? And I'm sitting there going, no. He's not.
He sure ain't. He is not coming, y'all. Let me tell y'all something. And I'm trying to figure out how to say this that has the most amount of impact. The Apprentice was a reality show. There was nothing real on that show. This man has filed bankruptcy 6 times because he is incapable of running a business.
Wait, hold on. Didn't he sell some steaks? Oh, that's right. That business lasted. That's right. I'm sorry. That business lasted 2 months. Go right ahead.
Exactly. them little funky steaks and them funky watches he trying to sell from the White House, nothing this man does is successful. And if you need more evidence, look at his friends, everyone who gets close to him, because this man is literally a black hole, they get destroyed. There is nothing in Trump's past, there's nothing in his actions that says, I care about people. All he care about is making money, and then making money and laughing in your face. That is what this man is doing. He is laughing in the face of farmers as he is sitting there in the White House with all that nasty, tacky ass gold, lying on these people as if they can't pick up their phones and say, well, actually, no, that's not the truth. Because Donald Trump lives in an information bubble that tells him his lies are the only things that are getting through. But that's why we are here, to counter these lies. But if I was a farmer, I would definitely feel the way right now how that man is lying on those people's names as they are losing everything because of his poor governance and his poor, destructive, on-the-fly policy making.
You know, Greg, I think these maggot farmers should just sit here and take themselves a nap for the next 3 years.
That's cold-blooded, brother. That's cold-blooded. You know, I mean, I echo everything that Nola just said. You know, yesterday, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association CEO, Colin Woodard, released a statement that said his organization, quote, cannot stand behind the president while he undercuts the future of family farmers and ranchers, end quote. Well, Colin, you can go to hell. Folks, learn how to grow your own food, because this is going to get worse before it gets better. And as far as Argentina is concerned, you said it again. I mean, $40 billion. Scott Bessent got a buddy down there trying to recoup his investment. No, because the peso is looked, the Argentinian peso is looked, it looks like it's going to go down. They're speculating about maybe 12% over the next several months. It's already headed south. There are elections this weekend in Argentina to elect half the Congress. And that little petty tyrant Milei, the president of Argentina, who like the guy who was in Brazil, who's now in jail, and the guy in North Korea and the guy in Russia is Trump. You know, he likes those kind of guys because as a very, very deeply, deeply insecure and really very weak man, Trump is enamored with the projection of what appears to be strength because, of course, since the time he came out of his mother's womb until the time they take him to the cemetery, he will never have even a fraction of that kind of strength. So like a lot of insecure men, he finds the projection of strength something that he finds very appealing, which is why, of course, he continues to be humiliated by the leader of Russia, who probably made a phone call a couple of days ago and said, I'm not meeting you. Now go on TV and tell him that you're going to cancel the meeting. But at any rate, he can't save Milei, as you said. Now, when you think about this grift, as Nola said, I mean, today's Financial Times talked about this British regulator, the British government that is suing this crypto exchange in Great Britain that isn't regulated, hasn't registered, and they are trying to make billions of dollars through these scams. And who's behind it? One of their chief advisors is one of Trump's supporters. Meanwhile, here in the United States, Trump is selling everything that's not nailed down. He's selling meme coins and all kind of fake stuff.
Hell, he just pardoned that damn, he pardoned that crypto dude today.
It's today. And so I think this is where we're going with this, Roland. I think this all is a house of cards. It depends on subterfuge. It depends on sensationalism. Propaganda Barbie, by the way, who was never an attractive woman to begin with. It's amazing how quickly white women age as they're lying. What you showed today, she's getting older by the second.
Who's that, Ice Barbie?
Yeah, exactly. No, not Ice Barbie. I'm talking about Carolyn Leifert.
White House chief liar. Yeah, I got you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh my God, is she looking more and more washed out? I mean, that crucifix around her neck, no doubt when she takes it off at night, has left a mark from burning through her skin. Because, I mean, at this point, she and Mike Johnson are neck and neck for the most absurd things coming out of their mouth because they know they can't defend it.
They about the same size, too.
How about that, brother? But as these people say, I didn't vote for this, when in fact they did vote because they thought they were going to punish us, as you say, and now they're catching the full wrath. I suspect that this, and I think we all would agree with this to some degree, this coalition that put him in office is going to fracture. And that's why they're so desperate to try to steal some seats in Texas and North Carolina, why they're so desperate to steal some seats in Missouri, because they realize that these people either going to turn against them at the booth, or they're not going to vote at all. And so I really do think we're kind of on the right track. I agree with Robert Reich on this, former member of the Clinton cabinet, Professor Reich, when he says, I've been watching things like this for a very long time, former Secretary of Labor. He says, it's in the air. This thing is about to turn against them. I'm not saying it's going to be a revolution, but I am saying that I don't know if they're going to be able to sustain this. And what you're reporting on is another one of the cracks in this facade.
Well,
Can I say, Roland?
Yep, go ahead.
Something real quick to that point. You know, when you look at the amount of money and who has Secret Service protection in this administration and how much money they're spending on security for Pete Hegseth and all his baby mamas and their spouses and exes and stuff. Look at them having $100-something million in new jets for Kristi Noem. They are flabbergasted that they are getting away with it. They are preparing for the response, and they're probably shocked that there hasn't been one yet. When does the press secretary have Secret Service? This isn't just them being paranoid. They know they are provoking a response. I'm not advocating for it, but I'm saying this is a provocation. And they can make light of it with shitty videos, and they can, put memes on True Social or whatever. But they know that they are poking the bear. And so far, they've been activated. On the other side, the Minnesota lawmakers were killed or shot by a crazy-ass Republican. But they kind of have a sense of, if we take away healthcare for millions of people, if we take away food benefits, that we're not going to be able to just walk down the street comfortably anymore. So that's what I think, that they already know that they in danger. They're just shocked that they haven't had more of a response so far. But I wouldn't feel comfortable with what they're doing if I were them.
Well, Greg said, it's something in the air, and you know what? I just got to go ahead and agree with Greg. Y'all go ahead and turn that thing up. I can feel it, y'all. There's something in the air. I think Phil Collins nailed that thing. That's right. They know they about to get booted out. Don't y'all understand? I see another crying white person every day. I can feel it.
This shit is so damn
Black.
This don't make no sense.
Can you feel it coming in the air tonight?
I can feel it. Let me go ahead and go. Right now. I'll be right back.
As a pastor, I hear a lot about trips to the doctor. Bills piling up, jobs being lost. So as your delegate, I went to work writing laws that protect families, helping parents care for their disabled children, capping insulin costs, lowering prescription prices, and investing in our police and schools. I'm Josh Cole, and as your delegate, I'm working to keep us strong and safe.
How you doing? My name is Mark Curry, and you're watching Roland Martin, unfiltered, deep into it, like pasteurized milk without the 2%. We getting deep. You want to turn that shit off? We're doing an interview, motherfucker.
Well, the Senate Democrats said, nah, we're not going to open this sumbitch back up. Not going to happen, not going to happen, not going to happen. And so
They had a vote earlier today. In fact, I interviewed Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock before that vote took place. And here's our conversation.
All right, Senator Warnock, glad to see you. Let's hop right into it. First and foremost, look, Democrats have had a very difficult time trying to gain some traction over the last 9 or 10 months since Trump's inauguration. And it seems as if with this shutdown, the issue of health care has really caught on. And how far are Dems ready to go? Because from my vantage point, we look at the polling data. When you got Republicans who are freaking out, you got people in these red states who now understand how vital health care is. And the reality is Republicans have never come up with any real health care plan since the Affordable Care Act was passed.
That's absolutely right. And Roland, let me just start right and make the main thing the main thing. Everybody who's watching, listening to me, and if you are on one of those marketplace plans necessary to make healthcare affordable, or if you know someone who's on one of those plans, if you live in Georgia, I want you to go to georgiaaccess.com. Others may go to healthcare.gov, wherever you go online. And I want you to look and see what your healthcare premiums are going to be in 2026 as compared to 2025. I can tell you that on average, people will see that their premiums have doubled. In some instances, they've tripled and quadrupled. So you tell me how someone who on average makes $65,000 a year or less can handle having a premium go from $200 or $300 a month to $1,000 a month. That's real money for real people. That's what's at stake, and that's what we're fighting about.
One of the things that, again, that I think is so important is not just seeing Senator Schumer, seeing House Democratic leader Jeffries on this here. Bishop Barber always talked about this here. You got to put a face on this thing. And this is where I think Democrats should be rolling people out in every one of these districts, in every one of these states, having regular, ordinary people talk about how they are being impacted by these subsidies going out. You got Senator Joni Ernst the other day who said, hey, listen, these subsidies ain't going away. And so by putting the face on it, it forces them to have to confront not politicians, but regular, ordinary people who are being screwed.
That's exactly what I've been doing every single day, Roland. I want you to go to my social media pages. I want your folks to check it out. I've literally been doing that. I've been doing these side-by-sides on a regular basis, literally pulling up people's actual statements on their healthcare costs. And when I first did it, the folks on the right, the difference was so stark that they claimed I was lying. I guess it was just inconvenient. The facts were inconvenient for them. I can give you one example. There's a woman named Teresa here in the state of Georgia, Teresa Acosta. She started her business during COVID because she lost her job because of COVID. Her business is doing pretty good. And as a small business owner, she was able to afford health care, something that she needed. She has a son, a minor, with diabetes type 1. Well, because of the big, ugly bill, her healthcare premiums have gone up so much that she's having to close her business. This big, ugly bill, this refusal to extend the tax credits for the ACA is bad news for small businesses, which is the lifeblood of our economy, is bad news for ordinary working class people, is bad news, by the way, more in red districts than in blue districts. They're on the wrong side of the issue, and they've sewn themselves into a bag. Folks are asking me how what's the exit ramp? Republicans need to figure out how to get themselves out of this mess that they've created for the people. And here's the crazy thing. Ultimately, it is a political problem for them. We're doing them a favor by giving them a chance to get this right, because as people see how much their premiums have gone up, this is not going to sit well with the American people, which is probably the reason why those who have taken people's doctors are now trying to doctor the maps through this ugly gerrymandering that they're doing. They know they're headed they're going to have to answer for this.
I mean, listen, when you got crazy, deranged Marjorie Taylor Greene yelling, hey, we're going to get screwed over this. This is not good. Then you know what's going on. And I absolutely believe it's tied to the gerrymandering. I believe that they knew they were going to lose 10 to 15 seats. And so their whole calculus is if we can snatch 5 in Texas, they snatch Cleavers in Missouri, snatch Don Davis's in North Carolina, that's 7. They forced Indiana, but Indiana doesn't have the votes for it. You see what they're trying to do in Florida. Virginia Democrats announced that they are going to do a gerrymander in response. So they know what's coming down. And so they're trying to steal anywhere from 10 to 15 seats to protect them from losing the House next year. And look, they see what's going on in the Senate. Bottom line is Ossoff running for re-election in Georgia. You got former Governor Roy Cooper in North Carolina. You're going to have a very difficult race for Susan Collins in Maine. And so they understand that. And I just think that, listen, out of all the issues that often get talked about, that you and Democrats, the party, the wise thing is to hammer healthcare literally every single day. And I dare say, and I said this to Democrat leader Jeffries, send members directly into Mike Johnson's district and wave and say, this is how many people.
Ironically, his own district is one of the clearest examples of the pain that they are literally causing. A few weeks ago, Roland, I was down in Evans County, Georgia, Claxton, Georgia, known for its famous fruitcakes. And I was at the Evans Memorial Hospital. Now, this is a district that is largely red. I don't have a lot of votes in that district. Those folks voted for Donald Trump. I got a few, but they voted for Donald Trump. But this small rural hospital, like a lot of rural hospitals, is already suffering. They had to close their labor and delivery unit. So not only do they not have a labor and delivery unit, the 3 other hospitals in that region, so 4 hospitals in that region where those folks go to get care, none of them have a labor and delivery unit. So whether you have money or not, whether you have insurance or not, that's a bad deal for you if you're a rural person in this red district. But because of these cuts, they're concerned that they're now going to have to close their ICU. So I was standing with those folks, even though many of them didn't vote for me, because I represent them in the United States Senate. This is bad news. It's bad news. We're going to see rural hospitals close. They've already taken $1 trillion out of Medicaid. They've kicked 15 million people off of Medicaid. This disproportionately impacts rural districts, a lot of them red districts. And now on top of this, they're raising the healthcare premiums on average, doubling them for 22 million Americans. This is bad news in terms of people's health, but also the health of the economy. This is a drag on the economy. They've gotten it wrong. And maybe if the president would stop posing as a king, if he can take a day off from decorating the White House with gold and turning it into a palace, if he weren't so busy trying to get the Qatari government to pimp his ride, he could focus on the struggles of ordinary people.
The point that you just made there by standing with those people, listen, I say to Senator Bernie Sanders and others, look, you got to hit them between the eye. You got to literally look them in the eye and say, hey, who's actually fighting for your health care? And I said this to President Obama. I said, you got to be able to go to places and say, listen, I said, you got to go to the reddest, the whitest, the sickest place and say, I passed the Affordable Care Act for y'all. In the last 5 years.
Roland, because you were there with me, that's how I won in Georgia. I didn't write off anybody in Georgia. I went to parts of Georgia that are deep red because I wanted to talk to those folks.
Right, but I think what has to happen is more Democrats have to literally say, hey, here are the stats. This is your county. This is your city. Yeah. This is how many of y'all are getting SNAP benefits. How many of you are on Medicare? How many of you are on Medicaid? How many of you are signing for Affordable Care Act? And so you're actually voting against your own interests. These are the folks, we're the ones fighting for you to make your life better. I just think that that's the kind of language that has to be stated for those folks to understand you voting for that, but when this stuff get cut, you running to me for help.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, once she found out the healthcare situation of her own children, she said, "Look, I got to say something about this." So, Roland, I've been in the Senate for a few years now, been in the Congress. I never thought I'd hear myself say that Marjorie Taylor Greene is right, and I want to associate myself with the remarks from the gentlewoman from Georgia.
I do have action about this here. Look, you got a huge, I mentioned earlier, a huge reelection of your junior senator in Georgia, Jon Ossoff. Of course, we were there in 2020 when both of you were running. You've got the race in North Carolina. Look, you got a potential. You got the race in Texas, depending on what happens with Cornyn and Paxton. And I have been saying this, and you know this. I said it during your campaign, but screaming this. And I said to Senator Chuck Schumer on my show a couple of weeks ago, I said, these white Democratic strategists are going to have to wake the hell up and realize that the way to reach black voters that they're so used to, that doesn't work anymore. And that when you look at the numbers, you got the brother who's running in Mississippi, there has to be a massive amount of time and investment, financial investment on boots on the ground, black-owned media and others in order to turn out black voters. What are you saying to these party donors, to these PACs, to these strategists to say, hey, y'all can't keep running the same campaign that you did even 5 years ago. The demographics have shifted, and black voters are saying, you're going to have to come talk to me more than just once, and pop it into a church, no disrespect, in October ain't going to cut it.
Well, look, I point to my own campaign is what I do. I mean, I ran ads. I spent time, particularly in rural Georgia. You know, in politics, we have these crazy ways of dividing us into groups where rural literally becomes a way of saying white and urban is black. But we know that in Georgia and across our country, it's more complicated than that. So I went everywhere. I was all over black radio because we know that's the drumbeat of our culture. I spent a lot of time in churches talking to everybody. And yeah, you got to be there. If you center the concerns of ordinary people and focus on the places where they actually live, then you have a chance of getting the policy right. And I think the voters will reward you for that.
But I just think what has to happen is I think the party, the Senate majority PAC, House majority PAC, all these people, they've got to hear from folks like you and the CBC to say, hey, listen, we're not sitting here playing games with y'all. You're going to keep losing if you don't do this thing right. So you better listen to black posters, black campaign advisors, black folks who know what they're talking about. I was talking to Chuck Rocha about this, and we had a very spirited conversation. He said the exact same thing. And that's what's driving people crazy, that you have this divide going on because, frankly, you got folk in the Democratic Party who don't want to listen to black and brown people.
Well, we got to make sure that we're listening to everybody. And that's the message that I continue to carry to our party. That's the work that I continue to do. And look, black women have been holding up the world. If the rest of the country just voted with black women, we'd be in a very different situation, right?
Well, remember, black women are the number one voter of the Democratic Party. Black men are number two.
That's right.
So both of them have been doing it.
They're pulling me to vote.
I understand. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. We'll chat soon.
Good to chat with you, man. Keep the faith.
Take care.
All right, there's a couple things I want to deal with our panel. First off, the whole point there about locking and loading on healthcare. Greg, that's what they should be doing. And bottom line is, it's resonating, it's working. And they got to be, I say, even more aggressive going into red places. And like I said, this is exactly how it should go down. So-and-so county, right here, I have the listing of all the people in this county who on the Affordable Care Act. This is how many people in this county are sick. This is what the median income of this county is. And I go down the line and literally say, this bill here was passed to help y'all. Democrats did that. Affordable Care Act, the Democrats did that. I would literally, that's how I would do it. And I would literally sit there and say, okay, so I just want to know, we did all this stuff for you, but this is your U.S. Senator. This is your congressperson. This county voted for Trump. Clearly, those folks ain't got your best interest at heart.
That's right, Roland. And we do see cracks in the facade. Now, let's be very clear. The United States of America is a criminal enterprise. It's always going to be that. With that having been said, there are racists, purebred racists, in this government and by the millions who voted for this racist, and they will pick their whiteness over their life. But as we know, there are others who won't, who will blink because they're hungry, because they don't get any benefits anymore, because they are suffering. And I think you're absolutely right. We saw Jesse Jackson do this in 1984 and 1988. We all remember those scenes of him with migrant workers in California, with coal miners in West Virginia, going into Appalachia. That's what the Rainbow Coalition ultimately was attempting to build. And of course, at that time, you have soft white nationalists in the Democratic Party, Bill Clinton, Joe Biden, others who moved to get that DLC in place to kind of stop that tidal wave. Well, this is in some ways a reckoning to what could have been built in the late 60s with Bobby Kennedy, in the 80s with Jesse Jackson, and even in some ways, Bernie Sanders, and just across the political spectrum. But it comes down to this. The reason they won't listen to what you said, what you have been saying, the reason they won't listen to the obvious evidence that you can build that kind of multiracial cross-class coalition, which you see out there with Ocasio-Cortez and Sanders and others, the reason they won't listen seems to be the same thing you've been saying over and over again. There is a consultant class who frankly doesn't care because they're going to make their money. They have to have their political backs broken. And the messaging, as you say, is crystal clear. Senator Warnock was one of the co-sponsors of the bill that was introduced in the Senate today, the True Shutdown Fairness Act, Senator Mark Warner out of Virginia. And they said, pay all the federal workers, pay the military, pay the essential personnel, pay everybody. And then they say in the legislation, nothing in this bill can be construed as nothing in this bill can be used to lay workers off or engage in a reduction in force. It is a straight war against Russell Vogt and this tiny group of religious zealots. This isn't about economics and policy wonks. No, they are religious zealots when you understand who wrote Project 2025 and what they're after. They want a white Christian nation. You can turn enough non-black people against that, the hungrier they get, and the messaging has to be as clear as you have articulated. But you got to get rid of that consultant class. You got to get rid of that talking head class because they don't care who wins as long as their check clears. I think that might be the biggest impediment, but I could be wrong about that. But
well, that's why I made that point. And again, if you don't understand how you have to attack, this is called attack, Reese. It's attack. You stay on the attack, and you got to be willing to go there. And so that's where Ken Martin should be. That's what. See, here's this whole deal. I get this what shutdown stuff going. My deal is since Johnson ain't got nobody working. Fan out across the country and be lighting that ass up every single day. Every single day. And matter of fact, Democrats should sit here and say, okay, yeah, we're going to hold public field hearings. I don't give a damn. We're going to stream them ourselves. My deal is be on the offensive because here's the reality. All them MAGA folk, they ass going to get sick too. And the healthcare premiums going to be eating their asses up. And then, listen, every time a rural hospital shuts down, Jeffries or Schumer should be dispatching, and Ken Martin should be dispatching group people with a sign saying, Trump did this, the Republicans did this, MAGA did this. To me, that's what you do.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that that's pretty self-evident, but I don't know. I feel like Democrats just have a discomfort with being like brazenly partisan. Meanwhile, Republicans have no problem ripping their heads off. We have the president, we have the vice president, we have the press secretary calling people, even Mike Johnson, Republicans calling any Democrat Hamas, terrorists, and all kinds of shit, Antifa. And yet Democrats, they pull too many punches unless they're in a debate like Mom Downey and Cuomo and they're ripping each other's heads off. We need that energy of like, I don't care, I'm going for the throat every single time. We need that energy every single day, all day. Y'all get tired too quick. Y'all get tired. Y'all ain't even working because you're not in Congress. So this should be a no-brainer. But I don't see the fighting spirit in enough of them. There are some select few that we highlight all the time, but there needs to be constant, relentless work on getting the message out. I was one of the people that during the election, mind you, 2024 said, why are you guys not running on healthcare? Donald Trump fucked up COVID. 1 million Americans died, and all you heard about was abortion. Why are you talking about insulin? Why are you talking about healthcare more? Healthcare has always been a winning issue for, well, not in Obamacare, but now it's been a winning issue for Democrats since 2018, when McCain not overturning Obamacare and people wanting to protect it got them back the House in 2018. And so I just don't understand why they don't have the discipline to keep hammering home this message. And they have to hammer the message beyond just people who would be directly impacted. They have to know how to connect the dots with the fact that if you have fewer people buying health insurance because there aren't subsidies, then that insurance costs go up for everybody. 90-something% of the country is going to experience higher premiums if these subsidies don't lapse. The same way that if people lose Medicare coverage or Medicaid coverage, then that's going to increase your bills as well. There needs to be a more multifaceted, relentless campaign that drives home the fact of what these healthcare issues are at stake, because it is a winning issue for them. People are supporting them, but they got to keep at it, because as the White House is doing everything to change the subject and put it back on Democrats as though they're the problem.
What we keep saying repeatedly, Nola, is you gotta fight. You can't back down from fight.
Not at all. I mean, it's bully 101. The first thing you do to disarm a bully is to disarm a bully. You don't give in to what their demand is. You don't give the bully your lunch money. You kick them in the shin, or you step on their toe, or other places. There are a lot of places that you can, kick a bully, and that's not what's happening. We don't see anyone, taking it straight to Donald Trump. Again, we have this problem of reaction. It's not a lot of strategy in a way that feels intentional. Some of it feels like it's being made up on the fly, because everything is so reaction based, because something is literally happening every 2 seconds. So you have to put that thing down and go handle this other thing, which is also intentional, right? But I agree with you. It's taken me a while to get to the point where I'm at. I was definitely willing to wait and see, to see what Trump's strategy was going to be. And we see what that strategy is. It's quick, fast, ask no one permission, just do it, right? And on the other side, the response has been reactive, but we need to see some heavy counterpunching. And right now, I can't necessarily put my finger on that person. And it's not to say that that Gavin Newsom, isn't strong. It's not to say that Hakeem Jeffries isn't strong, or AOC or Jasmine Crockett. I'm not saying that, but like, we are on the defense, but we're not on the offense. We are not counterpunching.
Well, and then, of course, you got folk like John Fetterman, who was sitting here doing a video with the Republican senator from Pennsylvania saying, we got to reopen the government. We got to reopen the government. And I'm sitting here going, do you not know what the fight is? I mean, I swear, I think Reese, Fetterman is even more of a disappointment than Sinema.
Yeah. Well, I told people that Fetterman wasn't shit when he pulled that gun out on that jogger. He never apologized for it. He was like, well, his black ass shouldn't have been there. But yeah, he's like Joe Manchin in flip-flops and a big baggy ass ugly sweatshirt. Joe Manchin is getting top rate healthcare at Walter Reed. He has several issues. I'm not an ableist. I'm not going to down him for the issues that he's experienced, but he's had a heart attack. He's had mental health issues. He is getting top-notch health care as a member of Congress. So for him to sit up there and undermine and undercut the Democratic case for making sure that 90% of the country does not experience an increase in their premiums and that millions of people don't lose their health care coverage, not in 2026, 2027, when the big, beautiful bill comes up, but right now, fuck him. You don't give a damn because you have health insurance. When your ass gotta go and with your salary, you make more than what a person who has $80,000 of salary is going to pay $25,000 more dollars in insurance premiums as a result of the Republicans. Until you have to go take your big ass on the insurance marketplace and buy full price healthcare insurance at 2026 prices, then you should shut the hell up.
Greg, any thoughts on Fetterman?
Yeah, Fetterman is terrible visually. I mean, he's terrible on the visuals. He's an avatar for the type of feckless, shameless political posturing as a Kristen Sinema or a Joe Manchin, for sure. And we don't know about his health. We know what Adam Jeltonson leaked to New York Magazine back in the spring in that long article on John Fetterman, where they basically said that, he should probably be somewhere trying to convalesce and get his health together, because clearly he's not the same guy who ran for office out of Western Pennsylvania when he got that Senate seat. But he's not alone. Day before yesterday, 13 Democrats voted in the Senate. The vote was 66-32 to confirm another fool to the federal bench, to the Northern District of Alabama, the federal courts, Harold Moody III. And that number included not just Fetterman, but Chris Coons and Dick Durbin and Maggie Hassan and Martin Heinrich, Tim Kaine, Mark Kelly, A.B. Klobuchar, Jack Reed, Adam Schiff, Jeannie Shaheen, Peter Welch, and Sheldon Whitehouse. There's still this sense, as we're talking about tonight, that these people think they can make peace with them. This guy, who they just put on the federal bench, was one of those people who refused during his Senate hearings to agree that the 2020 election wasn't stolen. This is the only piece of business that has made it through the Senate since the shutdown. And 13 Democrats, not just John Fetterman, crossed the aisle and put this white nationalist supporting clown on the federal bench. I'm saying all as a prelude to this. They're not going to fight. The best barometer that progress is being made against these open fascists isn't some type of fealty to the Democratic Party, but the fact that Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, I'm thinking about his brother Hassan, professor at Ohio State, my friend Hassan. Hakeem Jeffries have stood firm. Why is that the best evidence? Because Hakeem Jeffries is a wholly owned subsidiary of his donors, and he ain't never gonna take a risk. He's getting a little husky now because they attacking him, and then this guy threatens his life. And of course, Kash Patel is more interested in going to Wizards games and making a big splash by trying to put Chauncey Billups in jail than he is doing anything to protect him, protect Jeffries. But they have taken a strong stance because the people, the voters, and more importantly, the vast majority of people in this country, whether they vote or not, are turning against these fascists. So the best barometer we have of whether or not Democrats are going to fight, ironically, isn't the Democrats. It's the people who are now beginning to build in numbers. This is what the No Kings thing gives us hope for. It isn't just about organizing. It's about shows of numbers and shows of strength. Finally, that means that you need to get out of the way of those people in the Democratic Party who will fight. You got to get out of the way of Jasmine Crockett. Look, Stephen A. Smith jumped around on every side of the issue and vomited his whole life out on social media and on YouTube and on the airwaves yesterday because people wasn't taking it. We was all dragging his ass for filth. And he knows he has made his whole gamble to become the MAGA Negro darling. Anytime you see him back up, Mr. I don't apologize to anybody, you know the people are starting to move in that direction. I think that's the best bet we have is ourselves in the mirror. Let these politicians do whatever they're going to do. They're going to go which way the wind blows. And right now, more and more people are blowing in the direction of the right direction as far as I'm concerned.
Final comment, Ola.
Period. Yeah, definitely. A politician is going to be a politician. You know, there's a huge disconnect between the reality of what a politician can do, and what they can and cannot do. And that is the way that it's designed. And unfortunately, they cannot always work in the best intentions of their constituents. And that is the reality of being a politician. And Greg, I agree 1000%. You know, speaking from the perspective of a political scientist, you cannot bend the knee to an autocrat, to a dictator. You absolutely cannot. And I love the spirit, the fighting spirit that I'm seeing in the American people. And the thing that scares me is the potential of kinetic engagement, you know, because that's what this is building up towards. There are things that this administration is doing to, as Reese said, to provoke the American public. But so far, people have been really smart out there. Keep that up. And, you know, I just really hope that the will of the people continues to drive this momentum and for everybody out there to be safe.
All right, folks, coming back, we're going to talk about gambling in the NBA. We're going to talk about racist gerrymandering. A Republican North Carolina speaks truth to the folks who he serves with. And Democrats in Virginia are like, all right, we about to get in on this. It's time to gerrymander our map, too. All that and more next. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Stud Network. Don't forget, support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. You want to contribute via Cash App, use a Stripe QR code. You see it right here, bottom left-hand corner. You can use it for credit cards as well. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo's RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. And of course, checks and money orders make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Back in a moment.
Nicole Cole knows the cornerstone of a successful life starts here. Virginia Public Schools gave Nicole an excellent education. They helped her become a small business owner, family financial planner, mother, and community leader. Now, after 4 years on the Spotsylvania School Board, Nicole is running for delegate to meet the needs of all students. As our delegate, Nicole will fully fund our schools, raise teacher salaries, and help graduating students stay in our communities. Nicole Cole for delegate. For us, for our future.
In the military, I gave orders, and they went a lot further than they do around here. If there's one thing I've learned as a mom and foster parent of more kids than I can count, investing in their future isn't a choice. In Richmond, I'll fight for Stafford's fair share for our schools. Smaller class sizes, better teacher pay, and more vocational training.
I'm Stacey Carroll, and I'll fight to get our kids' future in order.
Josh Cole became a pastor and delegate to serve his community. That's why Josh is fighting to lower costs for families hurting from inflation and make sure we can all afford quality health care. But Sean Steinway has embraced his MAGA backers who support Trump's mass firing of federal workers and the MAGA plan to ban abortion with no exceptions. We deserve better than Sean Steinway.
I'm Josh Cole, candidate for delegate, and I sponsored this ad.
Hey, this is Motown recording artist Kim. You are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. That boy, he always unfiltered, though. I ain't never known him to be filtered. Is there another way to experience Roland Martin than to be unfiltered? Of course he's unfiltered. Would you expect anything less? Watch what happens next.
Well, Republicans in North Carolina say we're going to suck up to Donald Trump by gerrymandering our maps. And of course, that didn't sit well to some Democrats there in North Carolina. One of them spoke out on the floor. The Republicans got so mad, they just struck his comments from the record. Now, there are currently 4 Democrats in North Carolina's 14-seat congressional district, but they say, hell, we want one more. So they're going to snatch the seat of Congressman Don Davis, who's African-American, all right, leaving, of course, the state with one, Congresswoman Alma Adams. Well, North Carolina State Senator Michael Garrett delivered an 18-minute speech opposing the Republican bill. And again, they were so mad, they said strike his speech from the record. Here's some of it.
Democracy dies when we politicians rig the game, when we draw lines to choose our voters instead of letting our voters choose us, when we admit, and let's be honest, that's exactly what's happening here today, when we admit that we can't win in fair competition. So we'll just change the rules. When we're so afraid of the people's judgment, we rig the system to avoid it. That's not democracy, folks. That's tyranny with a prettier name. That's authoritarianism in a suit and tie. And that's everything these soldiers, marchers, and freedom fighters died to prevent. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle talk about protecting the president's agenda. Let me ask you something. Since when did America exist to support the president's agenda? I thought government was supposed to serve the people. I thought elected officials were supposed to represent their constituents, not take orders from Washington on how to rig maps. I thought we fought a revolution specifically to establish that no one, not a king, not a president, not anyone, is above the will of the people. The president said he's entitled to more seats. Entitled? That word should chill every American to the bone. No elected official is entitled to anything, except the privilege of earning the people's trust.
Now, the governor and there cannot veto a redistricting bill because state constitution forbids it. Democrats in Virginia said, yeah, you know what? It's time for us to get in on this game. And so, guess what? They announced that they are going to do the exact same thing. So go to my iPad. This is the New York Times story. Virginia Democrats plan to redraw House maps in redistricting push, and they make it perfectly clear. Virginia Democratic leaders said they are going to do this. Democrats hold 6 of Virginia's 11 congressional seats. They could very well grab 2 or 3 of those now. Of course, Abigail Spanberger, who's running for governor, has not, she actually initially said she would not make this a priority. Something tells me that if she wins, Louise Lucas in the Senate and Don Scott in the House gonna make her make this a priority. This is exactly how Democrats should be responding. What was shameful to me, Nola, was this idiot Republican, I think the Speaker of the House, he goes, well, we're doing this because what they did in California, as if he completely forgot that California did what they did because of what happened in Texas.
Absolutely. And it's these rhetorical games that they play. They continuously lie. As someone mentioned earlier today, you tell the same lie over and over and over, and eventually it becomes the truth. And it's just more of the same. It's not anything that's based in reality. And I'm happy to see the strategy, because like we just talked about in the last segment, we are at the point of this thing, folks, where the Democrats, they have to come out swinging on the offense, because this thing where we are right now, this man is literally bulldozing the White House as if it's his house. And who's to stop him from going any further? Not only is he completely, demolishing the legacy of, first ladies and all the work that they've done, but this is more of the same of Trump saying, I am declaring myself the king. I am making myself the king. So Democrats have to respond. Otherwise, there won't be a country to respond and or try to protect, protect, because it'll be all gone at the rate in which this man is just plowing through laws and norms. I mean, it's astonishing.
Here's another video here. 84% of North Carolinians oppose, Greg, gerrymandering. Listen to this.
Hello, my name is Raina Walters Morgan. I currently serve as the Vice Chair for Civic Engagement and Voter Participation with the Democratic National Committee, but most importantly, I am a North Carolina resident. We need to tell the truth that this started when President Trump asked the governor of Texas to find seats. Republicans in Texas indicated they hadn't used race in their maps previously, but changed their story, lied under oath when they were asked to find these extra seats. And also for California context, this referendum is for voters to decide whether to give legislators the ability to redraw those maps. They are not drawing them on their own. Voters are very much involved in the process in California, unlike what's happened here in North Carolina. This map in North Carolina puts Washington, D.C. over the people of North Carolina. There was a study recently that found, a survey recently that found that 84% of North Carolinians do not think it's acceptable for politicians to draw districts to give their party more power. We need to do more to protect the voters of North Carolina. Thank you.
But when you have the power, they're going to use it. And again, you have to fight power with power, Greg.
It's true, Roland. You know, and this is to the young people, because, you know, your audience includes intergenerational. So many people watch and rewatch and share. To you young people who don't have civics in high school like we did, and this is to anybody who really hadn't sat and studied this, the remarks that we heard there from Michael Garrett, very powerful because it was a lesson in civics. I have no faith at all in the American experiment. You know, I'm a descendant of those who were human trafficked. I think it's absurd for any African to look at this as some kind of reliable system. That being said, I have absolute faith in the possibilities of humanity and the human spirit. I just don't wed it to any particular state formation, any particular government, any particular society. But when you hear people talk that way, when you hear someone say, since when did America exist to protect the president's agenda? I would answer him and said, it always existed to protect the president's agenda when it aligned with white supremacy, sir. But theoretically, when you push back in that form, you're inviting us to get off the bench and into the fray, getting off our asses and get into the fight. And on that front, he is absolutely correct. When you follow that with the statistic that you just quoted, which blew my mind when you said it, you know, more than 8 out of every 10 person poll said they're against it. What you're seeing is a frightened, dying white nationalist minority in this country, which reveals the fact that white nationalists have always been in the minority in this criminal enterprise. Now all that leaves is the question of what are the rest of us going to do about it, as your friend and brother and now our ancestor Joe Madison would say. I think it comes down to this gerrymander issue that the Supreme Court, in its feckless attempt to enshrine white supremacy over the arc of the last 20 years by declaring that political gerrymandering is okay and racial gerrymandering isn't, but that racial gerrymandering is colorblind and it can be white people saying that you're diminishing our voting strength as well. I think that the evisceration of the Voting Rights Act and the attempt to shore up this dying white nationalist minority is now on the verge of backfiring, because when California has done what it's done, when you hear, as you say, Davis and Lucas in Virginia saying we're going to do this, and apparently they're going to call a meeting on Monday, and I'm sure you will have talked by then to Don Scott. I mean, not Davis and Lucas, but Lucas and Scott. You're probably going to talk to the Speaker Scott, before then, I'm sure, if you haven't already done it. Now all bets are off. Watch what happens. Mitch Daniel in Indiana, no flaming liberal or even centrist. The former governor is like, hey, Indiana, I beg y'all not to do this. Why? Because he can see the future. Every last one of these hillbilly hordes that 20 years ago decided to try to take over the legislatures and try to run this white nationalist thing by giving the federal government a proxy to run white nationalism by taking over the state legislatures, now they can only steal so far. Why? Because when you gerrymander to the extreme, you're putting your other Republican seats in jeopardy. And now at the federal level, see, they love the federal government when they're in charge. When they're against it, they want to dismantle it. And we saw federal spending is up over last year. It hasn't shrunk. It's actually expanded. This zealot who is over at DHS, Honey, who is talking about we're not using voter data to purge the voter rolls of illegals, as they call them. No, you're working with the Department of Justice, very likely, to do just that. They can't rig it. They can't rig it. If everybody starts gerrymandering, they are in deep trouble. This is their last little chance to get past the graveyard on this one. And I think they know that. That's why the thing's getting desperate.
And this is why you have to play chess, Reese. What I mean by chess, you know, Democrats have historically not focused on courts. I remember, listen, when Rahm Emanuel was Obama's chief of staff, he was very profane in saying, he said, against shouting at progressives over the Supreme Court. He didn't give a damn about the Supreme Court. Well, now we see the result of that. And so here's a perfect example. This is from Democracy Forward in North Carolina. So check this out. In the North Carolina House, Democrats got 51% of the vote statewide. Republicans got 48%. Yet Republicans have 59 of the seats and Democrats just 41. This is because of partisan gerrymandering. Now, let's go to the Senate. Perfect example. Look at this here. Democrats, 50% of the vote statewide, 48. When it came to the Senate seats, it's 60-40. Now, somebody watching saying, well, I mean, they control it. No, this is why 2026, lots of money has to be spent to re-elect Anita Earls to the state Supreme Court. And in 2028, 3 of those Republican seats are up. Democratic donors, strategists should be saying, we are going all out to win those 3 seats. Because if you win those 3 seats, then what you can do, file a lawsuit, have the Supreme Court declare partisan gerrymandering on the state level to be obsolete, forcing maps to be withdrawn. See, that's the chess being played here. Look at what happened in Wisconsin. They mobilized in Wisconsin, they organized in Wisconsin, they raised money in Wisconsin, they won 2 critical Wisconsin Supreme Court seats, and that Wisconsin Supreme Court, Democrats in control, brought back ballot drop boxes. They ruled partisan gerrymandering to be unconstitutional on the congressional level and with the state maps. That's how you change the game.
Yeah, that would be like too much like right though. I mean, where are the Democratic donors at? They too busy trying to sit up there and still go back, listening to the white consultants, you talked about it earlier, and go after these diners, these white diner voters in Ohio and shit. I don't know that we got the people of conscience on our side who's willing to cut the check. They willing to have galas and wear fancy gowns and get nice awards and shit. But who's willing to do the dirty work? Who's willing to really do the nitty gritty stuff? I don't really see it on our side, unfortunately. Pet projects here and there, yes, but the way that Republicans have for decades activated, you can call it dark money, you can call it whatever the hell that you want to call it, but they have activated to solidify power. We don't have that same energy because we have wasted almost a year. I mean, we're coming up in a couple of weeks of a year since Donald Trump won the election. And I don't see a damn difference from Democratic donors that shows that they recognize the gravity of the situation, recognize that with the federal government waging assault on our civil rights, waging assault on our institutions that support the kind of work that support democracy, that support citizenship, they are still, are they with George Clooney and like, Cuomo, where the fuck is y'all at? I don't see nothing from them. I don't think that the cavalry is coming. I don't think that the cavalry is coming from the Democratic donors. This is going to have to come from either people feeling enough pain to say, we ain't taking this shit, or people organizing with very little, with the scraps, and making do with that. Because I don't have any faith, and I haven't seen any evidence that the people who have the means are going to do a damn thing about what we're seeing happen right now.
Greg mentioned what happened in Indiana. Republicans there announced they don't have the votes to gerrymander the maps, and they have gotten a full court press from Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Here's Pete Buttigieg, former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, speaking about gerrymandering there in that state.
I would call it shameless. I was going to call it shameless, but then I started reading between the lines in some of the things that our Indiana State House Republican members are saying or not saying, and I realized they are, in fact, ashamed of what they're doing. They ought to be ashamed, and they are. They don't want to have to stand up in front of Hoosiers and say, yeah. got to stand up in front of the people of Indiana and explain why, of all of the things they could do with the power that they have gained by being in these offices, that this is what they did. They don't want to answer for being controlled by Washington like this. And so they're hesitating. Even with all the pressure coming their way from Washington, a lot of them haven't quite committed to doing the deed. And that's where we come in. Now is our chance to talk to, yes, get a hold of your legislator, but also get a hold of your conservative cousin who knows just as sure as you do that this is wrong, and have them get a hold of their legislator. It is time for all of us to encourage our Republican friends in this state house to show some backbone before it's too late.
Hey, right now, folks, they're not going to stop. They're going to keep going. And I'm telling you, the way to defeat them, also at the ballot box. If we turn out massive numbers, to Greg's point, we can overwhelm them in districts where they are favored on paper. It's all a matter of who turns out. All right, y'all, we come back, talk about getting turned out. Ooh, massive gambling scandal in the NBA. Ensnares an NBA head coach, an NBA player, former NBA player, now coach, tied in with the mafia. This story is insane. We'll discuss next right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network. Back in a moment.
As a pastor, I hear a lot about trips to the doctor, bills piling up, jobs being lost. So as your delegate, I went to work writing laws that protect families, helping parents care for their disabled children, capping insulin costs, lowering prescription prices, and investing in our police and schools. I'm Josh Cole, and as your delegate, I'm working to keep us strong and safe.
Afrotech, it's a lot of beauty, a lot of brilliance, a lot of intellect, a lot of innovation.
Companies that are most diverse are more profitable.
We're getting culture, we're getting community, we're getting the best of the best. And not only are we here to greet each other, but we're here to network and to elevate each other.
Everybody from all the major tech companies here, and that means that now everybody's in the same domain.
This is the premier event every year. This is really where we could take off. You can go fast by yourself, but we go farther together.
This is where you're supposed to be.
I'm Russell L. Honoré, Lieutenant General, United States Army, retired, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups, Miami Heat player Terry Rozier, and former NBA player and current Cleveland assistant coach Damon Jones all arrested today by the FBI in a nationwide gambling operation that they said involved the mob as well. Several $1 million were being ripped off from various gamblers. And this has been, I mean, just an unbelievable situation. Rozier was arrested Thursday at a hotel in Orlando, Florida. Billups was arrested in Oregon. According to the indictment, the defendants, quote, had access to private information known by NBA players or NBA coaches that would have affected the outcome of games. This was the announcement today in New York City.
Today, we are here in New York to announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Cosa Nostra.
FBI Director Kash Patel said on Thursday that more than 30 people have been arrested in a major illegal gambling investigation that stretched across the country. Among those charged are Chauncey Billups, an NBA Hall of Famer and head coach of the Portland Trailblazers. And
All right, let's check this out. Now, Billups was not charged in this indictment, but he was called a co-conspirator, passing on information to gamblers that the Trailblazers were tanking games in order to get a high draft pick, and so people would then bet based upon those games. Billups and Rozier have been indicted on wire fraud conspiracy and money laundering conspiracy charges. What makes it even crazier, Billups was arrested as being part of an underground poker games that were backed by mafia families where they actually had x-rays on the table. This is an absolutely unbelievable story. Billups, as well as Rozier, have been suspended, placed on leave by the NBA as a result of this. You're talking about point shaving, sharing of information left and right. Just absolutely unbelievable. This has rocked the, look, the NBA got off to a fantastic start of the season, Greg. Opening night, the Oklahoma City Thunder playing my Houston Rockets. Game goes to double overtime. It's on NBC. Folks are all excited. Then all of a sudden this here. Now here's what's also crazy in this story, Greg. So the NBA has been working with a lot of these betting these betting folks. So when they see these weird bets, so how this thing has changed now and how they've been able to buzz is how stupid some of these players are. So the way they're now betting is they're betting on, particular player, how many points will he score, how many rebounds, how much time will he play. All of a sudden they're watching the game and seeing, so-and-so checking out of the game. And they start seeing a lot of these bets, not just one bet being placed on this, but a number of bets. So all of a sudden that sparks them to say, hey, something is a foul here. Michael Porter, previously, brother Michael Porter, suspended, first of all, kicked out of the NBA, banned for life because he pled guilty to point shaving as well. So all these things are going on while the NBA, NFL, other leagues are actually having bettors as sponsors, as advertisers.
That's exactly right. At 60 years old, a lifelong baseball fan who played the game in high school, who once dreamt of making Major League Baseball, as someone who doesn't watch the National Football League because of what happened to Colin Kaepernick, and through that, all of us, and who has at least enough for self-respect. I don't condemn people who do what. I would say that there's nothing new in this. Gambling and betting and American sports goes back to when they had us on the plantation beating each other up in the sport of boxing and placing bets. So there's nothing new here. I mentioned baseball because I think about Pete Rose, wherever he is at this moment, who isn't in the Baseball Hall of Fame because they sprayed this perfume all over Major League Baseball, calling themselves having some integrity of the game motive, and kept him out of the Hall of Fame. Meanwhile, people betting on this stuff all the time. Chauncey Billups, the idea that he's at a poker game and because he's there and a couple other people, the high rollers come in and then they scam them and then you get a piece of the cut, that's terrible. The fact that, people are saying, well, my foot hurts and so I'm not going in the game, as they say that's what Rozier did, and then you're going to be able to bet on my productivity in the game. Well, that would be a lot more concerning to me if, as you say, you didn't have an ad on every 30 seconds betting on how many beads of sweat will fall off the nose of LeBron James between quarter one and quarter two. You're betting on everything. I don't think it is possible. And by the way, Cash Patel, who just loves the cosplay, don't they all love the cosplay with his little FBI windbreaker on? It's La Cosa Nostra, not La Casa Nostra. But then you're an idiot, so therefore, I can forgive you on that. Listen, you work for the biggest criminal in the world right now. His name is Donald John Trump. The idea that any of this stuff can be washed into an integrity of the game, we're way past that. If you want to put these guys in jail, if you want to indict them, fine. But it's not going to, you can't ignore the fact that, forget the pro sports in terms of the official pro sports, they're paying, what's the cap, Roland, at the University of Texas now for an offensive lineman? Is it $800,000? Something like that.
Well, actually, I think I saw a chart, University of Texas, second highest in terms of their paying players. Ohio State's 1, UT, I think Texas is 2 or 3.
Roland, I guess I just end with the question for you, brother, and for all of us. how in the hell are you going to start talking about policing gambling in sports when you're talking about that kind of money in quote-unquote amateur sports? I mean, I don't know where this ends.
Well, first of all, I've never called it amateur sports. I just called it minor league sports because it was always professional. And I mean, what's so crazy here is Reese, you're Chauncey Billups, and this is him leaving the courthouse in Oregon. It's like, dude, you're making in excess of $5 million as an NBA head coach. Granted, these are allegations, and you are putting understand, he literally could be kicked out of the, not have anything to do with the NBA for the rest of his life. You're talking about forget, because before he was a broadcaster. You ain't broadcasting, you ain't coaching, you ain't signing, you ain't showing up at any arena, and so this is serious here. And it was this investigation also did not start in the last 6 months. This has been going on for several years.
Yeah, I mean, if the alleged conduct is true, it's indefensible, it's irresponsible, it's reckless, and it's unnecessary. I mean, how much money people have to have? You got to cheat on top of being rich, on top of having fame, on top of having a job, a steady income. There are people going to work right now, TSA, air traffic controllers, military people, veteran, that ain't getting a check. And they ain't lying, cheating, and stealing. So I will never be one to defend this kind of behavior. But what I will say is, while y'all investigating gambling and all this other kind of shit, investigate the stock market, investigate all the motherfuckers who made money because Donald Trump said, today is a good day to buy the stock market, because he was timing his tariff announcement.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Very, very strategically. Let's investigate that too. Let's investigate all this crypto that Donald Trump is involved in. Right. These little Bitcoins and meme coins and all that shit. Let's investigate that too. Let's investigate what Cash Patel is doing in terms of his expense report, and is he paying back all these flights he's catching to sit courtside here and sit in this suite in this box? Let's investigate if he's receiving improper gifts, if he's paying market value for these tickets at all these sporting events, because I didn't think that the FBI paid that much. So let's make sure that you investigate everybody and every kind of gambling, every kind of speculation. Let's investigate everybody. But we know that in Donald Trump's America, you ain't getting no pass if you black. Make sure your paperwork is together. Make sure you ain't got nothing that they can get you on, because they'll still lie and cheat and make up some shit. Tish James, Lisa Cook, I can name more. But to the extent that you don't have to give them something, don't give them to them. Don't make it easy on them.
Well, check this out, Nola. This poker player named Matt Berkey, 2 years ago in a podcast, talked about this very thing that they were indicted for. Check this out.
Adam K. It is. There are a lot of stories about it. There's one that cropped up. This must have been like 5 years ago, 2019-ish, I think, 4 years ago, where there was this game. It started in LA and then it came to Vegas for a few days, and it was all built around Chauncey Billups. And I had heard about the game, and the person who told me about it was like, look, I know the game runners. I'm telling you 100% this game is on the up and up. And I was like, well, I know a lot of the people that are involved, and I'm telling you 100% that it is not on the up and up. Yeah. And, we kind of went back and forth, and I agreed that, like, I just wasn't going to go play it. But I had some friends who went and played it both in LA and in Vegas. And it obviously, like, was for sure confirmed to be cheated. Mm-hmm. Like, people who clearly didn't even understand the rules of No Limit Hold'em are just, like, jamming hundreds of big blinds in with, like, a gutty and then just drilling it. Yeah. Only the pros are losing. Like,
how is it figured out? Like, it just...
I can't remember if this was the game where...
No. Over the loudspeaker?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
That was Peart.
Oh, okay. Well, it's still, I mean, it's not like Chauncey and Pierce don't know each other.
I mean, that right there, I mean, the guy was talking about how these games are rigged. And again, when you start talking about, when you hear phrases like NBA player, coaches, mafia in the same headline, That is not what the NBA wants to be talking about.
Not at all, because Roland, to your point, everybody was excited that the NBA was back. Charles Barkley was in rare form. Is he on Ozempic? You know, like the conversation was like, oh, this is a bright spot. And now we wake up to this news. And the first thing I say to my mind is like, okay, I'm not Black, I'm OJ. Okay. You know, status will not keep you safe in Trump's America. We knew that before then, but to Reese's point, it's even more salient now. We cannot, people that have profiles, people that are, you know, out there, you have to be careful about how you are moving. And this didn't just happen. It's been going on for a while. And, you know, I hate to say that Black people, you know, we have to be extra vigilant about how we move. But you know what? That's just the reality of the thing. Yes, we have to be extra vigilant about how we move because we have targets on our back. If you have any sort of profile, if you have any sort of influence in the Black community, you have a target on your back. And I'm even more angry because, you know what? I'm gonna just keep it real. Like, I grew up at the racetrack in New Orleans and I can't stand gambling. Like, as a child, I just remember people like betting on their rent and their mortgage. And I'm like, well, this doesn't make sense to me.
What the hell were you doing now? What were you doing now?
I grew up in New Orleans, y'all. That's a long, long story. I mean,
like what? Your babysitter worked at the track?
It's a long, long story. I mean, the horses were nice.
Track. Oh, man.
I really was at the track as a child. And I'm looking at all these adults like, all y'all asses should be ashamed of yourselves and y'all should go home. So I'm not a fan of gambling anyway. And the way that they market it as if it's fun and it's like gaming and like waste your time and spend all your money doing this. And to see, I'm just so upset that Chauncey is involved in this, that he's wrapped up in it, because not only does this send a bad message, and, you know, not only does this send a bad message, but this gives them more excuses not to hire Black coaches. This will reverberate. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, listen, you had a point shaving. You had a point shaving thing before with a white referee. But the thing that this is the one that cracked me up right here, y'all.
In Trump's America?
They were discussing this on ESPN, and then all of a sudden, hold on, let me see if I can find it. Is this it? They would talk. First of all the major networks were covering the news conference live. ESPN didn't, but they were having a conversation. Hold on, did it go away? Give me 1 second. Let me see if it. Yeah, watch this here. Okay, so just roll the video. So they were having no audio down. They were having a conversation on ESPN. I want y'all to see this here. I want y'all look what's in the bottom right hand corner. It's the ESPN bet information. So then all of a sudden, somebody was like, you know what? That may not be wise. We might want to go ahead and take that Chiron down. So all of a sudden, it's there. Then, we might want to, let's go ahead and drop the lower third. There it went right there. I mean, so here, I mean, that tells you all you... Like, they're sponsors, they're advertisers, Reese, and they're advertising for the league, they're advertising on ESPN, I mean, listen, a deal was just been cut where the NFL is going to have a 10% ownership stake in ESPN, and you got gambling commercials going on there. Bomani Jones said a few months ago when the Porter scandal happened, he said, I'm telling y'all right now, this is going to get worse before it gets better. He said, this is not going to end well.
Well, you know, the difference is corporate white betting companies versus the mafia. They want that cut. The government want that cut. These corporations want that cut. And so, yeah, when you backdooring it and doing all this other kind of stuff, then it's a problem. That's really the big difference of it. But, you know, I mean... I think it calls into question the integrity of the game, and that's unfortunate, you know. But I just feel like when there's a backdoor way where people are getting paid under the table or behind closed doors, then that's the problem. It's the same reason why now we got legalized cannabis. You go to any place where cannabis is legal, and you can go there, you can get gummies, you can get drinks, you can get flour, you can get anything for the same shit that people was going to jail for decades. It's all about how can I get a cut of what you're doing. Not that it's necessarily wrong, but how can I get a cut of it?
Y'all, it is it's going to happen again. Just go ahead and bank on it. It's going to happen again. All right. Tomorrow, I'll deal with the Trump administration, of course, running away from the civil rights lawsuits in New Jersey as well as Louisiana. Let me thank Reese. Let me thank Greg. Let me thank No Gumbo Nola. Appreciate that. Nola, like seriously, I mean, like, can you bring a cup by the office or something? Like, I mean, can you provide some? Can you provide some evidence that you know how to make gumbo?
Are you buying all the ingredients? Because blue crab is quite expensive in DC nowadays.
You got money?
Oh,
I see the 38 colors of lipstick you be wearing on Instagram. Come on now. Come on. Come on. You know you the queen.
We're not about to go for the lipstick.
You know doggone well.
We're not about to do that.
You got the VIP count at the lip bar.
You want a $200 pot of gumbo.
Even try it. First of all, a $200 pot of gumbo is not necessary. I make gumbo.
Oh, okay. You're not used to being pampered.
No. First, let's be real clear. Let's be real clear, okay? Because see, mom and dad were here, just other people. Mama made some gumbo. I'm just simply saying, it ain't got to be a $200 pot of gumbo. I mean, now if you try to make gumbo for like 20, 30 people, I don't even know you even own a pot that large. But you keep saying all this stuff.
You keep saying it.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Run
me the ingredients.
So,
that's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. Run me the ingredients.
Make it rain.
Run me. Run me my filet. Run me my blue crab. Run me my Mexican shrimp. Needs to put in my pot. Run me my crab boil.
First of all, we ain't putting no damn Mexican shrimp in a doggone gumbo.
Oh, really?
That's right.
Okay.
You can't use Louisiana shrimp?
Oh, of course I can use Louisiana shrimp, but you're not used to a pampered pot of gumbo.
No. First of all, I know. I'm used to gumbo, but you sitting here trying to be all bougie. You got the bougie gumbo. So
no,
that's what you got.
You want a pot of gumbo? I simply said run me the inflation $200 so I can make a pot of gumbo.
See, again, you got that bougie gumbo. See, I understand that Leah Chase gumbo, but it ain't got to be all bougie like yours. So I'm just saying.
Anyway, we're not about to speak on Miss Leah Chase. May she rest in peace. We're not about to speak on the queen.
We can.
We're going to go ahead and leave the queen on out of this and my lipstick.
We can. We can, because trust me, I know who on this panel who was her favorite. You don't.
Baby, we gonna go there.
Baby, don't.
But we can't even verify because Auntie is in the grave.
See, Nola, here's the problem, Nola. See, when you say we can't verify, no, boo.
Lord.
Yes, Miss Chase may have. Miss Chase may have become an ancestor, but boo.
I'm sorry, I don't have a video at the ready.
We got video. You don't even. I mean, you don't even.
It's your show.
No. I'm just saying that when you said we can't verify. No, see, you forgot who you talking to.
But this is one-sided.
No. See, here's the deal. The beauty of video, it comes from the person themselves.
Well, my tender personal moments shared with her, they're not on video.
Okay, well, first of all, baby.
So there we go.
All I know is I just know I just know very few people who were allowed to just walk into her kitchen unannounced. Could you?
I am very happy for you, Roland, that you have that privilege. You have many privileges in blackdom.
Could you? Matter of fact, just let me just go for the people at home.
Here we go.
For the people at home, control room. Why don't y'all just go ahead and roll? This is for Nola. Roll this, please.
Oh, Lord. Oh, God.
Whenever I come to New Orleans, I cannot help but go by Dookie Chase, an institution for 76 years here in New Orleans. And I got a chance to talk with Leah Chase, the woman who's been cooking there for a long, long time. We in Dookie Chase. Where's the chef of the house? I know she cooking something, because every time I come here, I find her in the kitchen. Where's she at? Yeah, I'm not looking for her. She ain't that tall, so. Let's see. How you doing? What's going on? How you doing? You all good? What's happening?
Oh, not much.
Where's the lady of the house?
Oh, she's in her kitchen.
Where's her kitchen? This way?
Right.
Oh, yeah, we going her kitchen. She got her own kitchen. All right.
Right here.
Here we go. What's happening?
What's happening?
You know I can't come.
You happening.
You know I can't come to the city and not see you.
Well, I was wondering if you put me down like all the other men.
No, darling. How you doing?
All the other men put me down. You know, when you get old, they put you down.
Well, darling, every time I come here, I got to come say hey.
All right.
I decided to bring the cameras this time.
You always bring your intimidating machine.
They're not intimidating. They just always there.
They tell the truth.
That's right. That's right. What you got? What you up to?
Everything, man. Everything I'm up to. I'm getting ready to make a big pot of gumbo, and
all right.
I cooked my lunch. Got some tomato basil soup over there.
All right. Is this cabbage?
Cabbage.
All right then. One of the few vegetables I actually eat.
Oh no! Don't tell me you eat cabbage.
I eat cabbage. I only eat like 3 of them.
Oh, shame on you. Nothing like a good vegetable.
Well, you know, but see, and it's perfect too, because I've been on this 10-day green smoothie cleanse for the last 10 days. So it officially ends tomorrow, so I can actually eat real food.
All right.
So yeah, I timed it to coincide with coming to New Orleans.
All right, but in New Orleans, you know, we don't serve calories. You can eat whatever you want. All the rice, all the gumbo, all the fried chicken and baked macaroni, the jambalaya.
Yeah, but the problem is the clothes you brought, you're not going to be able to fit to wear to the concert.
Well, whose problem is that? That looks like your problem, because you got that before you left home. We don't put that.
Oh,
You see? And you see all those nice shoulders? We put that under your belt. We don't like men with big shoulders. They with big stomach. That means we fed them good.
Well, good. Well, yeah, you got it going here. So what's that, Bill? I see some corn and sausage.
Oh, I know you like corn.
I do. So what's that dish called?
That's called makshu, just a little corn makshu.
Right.
You know, that's a Cajun thing.
Okay.
But you know, if you can't beat them, join them.
Right.
So,
right.
We in New Orleans, in the Creole community, we just call that stewed corn. But they say makshu, okay, it's makshu. So,
all right then.
And then we have the cabbage,
right.
A tomato basil soup.
Okay.
And we're gonna give you a lot of fried chicken.
And what my man? What he got going right here?
Turkey necks.
Turkey necks.
Everybody likes a good turkey neck. You know.
And that's what what's this here that's raw?
That's chicken gizzards that we're going to put in the gumbo.
Okay, all right.
You know, you have to have some gizzards in your gumbo.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah, you can't have gumbo. Like first we do the ham shanks in there. You see, I will make that much gumbo.
Right.
That's going to be about 30 gallons.
Right there? 30 what?
30 gallons.
30 gallons.
Uh-huh.
Now I can't make small pots of gumbo in my house.
You can't?
I can't. That little 5-quart pot, I can't. So I have a 20-quart pot, I have 2 40-quart pots, and the 60-quart, we had to cook that outside.
Yeah, because you don't have a big enough kitchen.
Oh yeah, no. If I cooked it outside with the Bunsen burner.
Yeah. But do you know how to make a gumbo?
You know how to make gumbo.
All right.
Oh my goodness, absolutely.
All right.
And I like mine spicy.
Okay, well, gumbo is always spicy.
Now we had a fierce fight on Twitter. So comedian David Allen Greer swears that you must put okra in gumbo. Now I told him no, because my grandmother from Opelousas, Louisiana, my grandfather as well. I said the problem with okra when you put it in gumbo, okra is slimy. I said so if you want it, you fix it separate, then put it in that bowl, but you don't put it in the big pot.
Well, that all depends on what you're going to do.
Okay.
And don't go around here telling people okra gumbo is slimy. It is not. It's because you do not know how to cook it.
Well, if it stays, I'm saying after it's in the pot,
No, it will not. You just got to slow cook it and cook the okra good.
Okay.
And I cook okra every day, not slime.
But do you put okra in your gumbo?
Not in this gumbo. But tomorrow I will make that much okra gumbo.
Okay.
So all I will have in that okra gumbo tomorrow is shrimp. And maybe I'll put some crab. But you can make okra gumbo, but okra is a thickener.
Right.
So we don't use that. We use filet, which is the ground sassafras leaf.
Right. See, I use filet. So you and see also I like to keep mine simple. So I use sausage, chicken, shrimp. Now my grandmother used hen. Only problem with that hen a little tough.
But it boils in that gumbo, and boy, does it give the flavor.
That's
Your
true.
grandma was right.
Now, what my dad does when he makes gumbo, and he taught me this, so he likes, some people like to have frozen shrimp because it's bigger and quicker. But what he does is he also gets the fresh shrimp.
With the heads.
Well, no, what he does is we devein it, take the shells off, we then boil the shells, and then take the juice from that and put that in the pot.
That's good. Now, I'll tell you what one thing better that I do, telling him everything, that he'll be running me out of business after a while. I take those shells and those heads, put them in a pot with a little butter, and let them cook down. Put a little water in them. Then I put them in a blender. Shells, everything in a blender. Let them blend, then strain it off. That is like...
You blend the heads and the shells?
And then you strain it. You put it in the strainer. And then you got powerful flavor there. You can do that.
No, I haven't tried that.
Because you don't know how to cook.
Come on, TT, tell him.
Your grandmother knows how to cook, but you don't know how to cook.
My grandmother, God rest her soul, she actually could burn in the kitchen. My grandfather too.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, in my neck of the woods, men didn't cook.
Oh, no. All the men cook in my family. We don't want women in our kitchen.
Oh, no?
No. My mom taught my dad how to make gumbo and dirty rice. She can't even touch him now. She doesn't even. She doesn't even. If my mama cooked now, that's a miracle. My dad does all the cooking.
Isn't that wonderful?
That's right.
I think that's a nice thing to men to do, but in my day, men were not allowed in the kitchen.
Oh, no.
Go out there, plow the field, dig the ground, do whatever you got to do.
My grandmother had a catering business, so my dad cooked. My brother now runs our family catering business. He's an executive chef in Houston. So I used to cook more, but I'm too busy now. So that way, when I go home,
in Houston,
they do all the cooking.
Nothing in Houston but oxtails.
No. I'm trying to tell you, my daddy. Okay, I'm gonna bring my daddy back next time I come, and I'm telling you, you're gonna say,
let him cook with you. I'm gonna see how good he can cook.
I'm trying to tell you. That's a bet.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you. All right, y'all. So we had a.
She got you, man.
We had a sit-down conversation. We had a lot more. We had together. So y'all remember when she passed away in June 2019? We did a 2.5. We did a 2.5-hour tribute. Y'all can go to our YouTube channel. Y'all can see the tribute.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Hey, Roland.
Yeah.
You was burning at that tribute, man. What's your brother Kwame? You had all the chefs come in.
Oh yeah.
No, maybe if you front Nola, maybe we can reenact that. You can bring that gumbo in. Ain't they got a big stove back there? It ain't good enough.
She ain't doing that.
That hot sauce is the business, baby. All of that adds on up in inflation Trump town, baby. I don't know what y'all think the prices are like at the grocery store.
Anyway, this is the video of the tribute we did to the Queen of Creole Cuisine.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic conversation. The dinner party we had. So I'll say this here. Are we gonna do? I'm still deciding. I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm still deciding whether I was going to do an election night special. No.
You gonna have food?
No, we're not. No. So here's the deal. We're not going to do an election night special because on November 6th we are having a special show with Bishop William Barber and others on white Christian nationalism. So, yeah, we're gonna have a special show. So I might do gumbo that night.
I don't know, because last time we had cupcakes.
First of all, you take your little shady little ass. You take your little shady little ass. Okay, last time we got together, I had to leave. So
And he ran out the door.
because I had to go catch a damn plane. Yeah. You got that right.
Yeah.
I had to go.
Not a cocktail in sight.
I had to go. See? At least you had some cupcakes.
I was missing the crab cakes.
Huh? You did?
Right?
Say it again, Reese.
Yeah.
I said I was missing the crab cakes. You normally have little crab cakes and crab cakes.
I understand, but brother had to go. Brother had to go. All right, so I might do that. I might do that when we get together for that special. And I'm still deciding. You know what I might do is because see, we were gonna do it here. I might even decide to have a studio audience. You know what? I might do that. So we're gonna have it.
You need us for this?
Huh?
You need us when you trying to figure out that show?
He's brainstorming. He figuring it out.
Okay.
Yeah. See, sometimes you stop running your. See, sometimes you stop running your mouth. See, and let things like. See, this is when you know you ain't no good cook. Cause see, a cook will let things, as Greg said, let it marinate. Let that crock pot thing going. So I'm sitting here. So let's just be real clear. If I decide to go ahead and do gumbo that night, Reese, I'm gonna invite you. I'm gonna invite Greg, but we know who not gonna get invited because you know.
Oh no!
I'm not coming if Nola can't come.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, I see.
got solidarity
Okay, Greg, I see you, Greg. All right.
Hey, she can bring a pot. Can't you bring a pot, Nola? You can bring the pot of gumbo.
She can't bring
the gumbo. Can you make it about a six?
She can't bring no pot. She can't.
Like I said, my offer is I will cook when the ingredients are bought. That is my offer.
And that right there, that tells you that child ain't no real cook. All right, I gotta go. I'll think about it. I'll think about. Absolutely. I'm King Patty.
It's the buying and cooking. Gumbo for all y'alls. You hear this man?
Baby, listen, I told you.
People want to know.
I got 2 40-quart pots.
Run me.
What you got?
Run me the inflation 200.
What you got?
Oh my. The inflation 200.
What you got?
I know what I got, which is why I'm never bothered, baby.
We know your gumbo product is thin amount of meat.
I don't know. The people are watching. Now everybody want to know. You know.
They didn't want to know.
Ain't nothing worse than somebody making some gumbo and all you got in your bowl is 1 shrimp, 1 andouille sausage.
That's why you gotta run them coins. You gotta run the coins.
Oh no. My gumbo ain't never had a shortage. Of meat. That ain't never been a problem.
You gotta Venmo, Zelle, PayPal, run them down.
Yeah, it might have to. When you beefing with Don Cheadle one time? I forget.
Oh no. It was if everybody wanna know, y'all just go. Y'all gotta do is y'all gotta go to Twitter and type in #GumboWars. #GumboWars. Yo, it was Don Cheadle. It was David Allen Greer. Keisha Lance Bottoms put her little thing in there. And we just like, Keisha gone with your Zetarans. Everybody was catching strays. I'm talking about. Okay, I'm trying to tell you, this was a thing.
Okay.
No, this was a straight up. If you go if you go to Twitter, matter of fact, I'm gonna go. If you go to Twitter, y'all think I'm lying. Everybody got hit. I mean, Tamron Hall had this awful gumbo. Oh my God, it was. I told Tamron, don't ever post a photo like that again. It was awful, y'all.
Well, my husband makes the best gumbo, so. But I'm just cut all the debate. He makes the best.
She said, Mike and drop. She didn't go CJ all up into this conversation.
Do you have a photo? Can we see some evidence of what his gumbo looked like?
Oh Lord, she done.
I'm gonna have to go back. We had the cooking contest. My husband is the chef, so I'm saying
it was a cooking contest. Mean he was competing against somebody else? Who?
Well, of our family, we did the family cook-off during the COVID, so I'm sure I got something somewhere. But let's
look at y'all, folks. Cause y'all, this is some of the stuff. Hashtag because I posted, boom, some of the Gumbo.
That looks good.
And other people. We were all going at it.
Wow.
And then other folks start getting in on it, and they start.
Monique got in on it.
Other people start posting their stuff. Then some other folk posted some absolutely nasty ass. I never forget the fool who had some wieners, and we cussed him out.
Oh no!
We cussed him out.
Wow.
So as you see that's what it looks like when you actually can cook, Nola. That's called evidence. Let's see here.
Wow.
This seasoned chicken breast. Somebody else jumped in on this here. See, y'all thought we were joking. No. We were actually real.
Did I ever tell y'all how I paid for my education at UCLA? Did I ever tell y'all? About me and my mom's
we don't want no poll stories. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm just saying, since you.
I don't know what somebody
in my inheritance of
somebody actually posted this photo as Gumbo. We said, what the hell is that?
Wow.
Call the police. Call the police.
I'm not lying. This was Chris Mueller, and we told him, man, put this damn thing down.
Damn, Karen, Atia caught a stray?
Oh, yeah, Karen posted something. We had to cuss her out. We had to, this was Karen.
There it is.
This was Karen Atia. We like, Karen, go sit your ass down.
What is that?
Gone. That was Karen Atia's Gumbo, y'all.
Maybe Ghanaian Gumbo.
We don't know what the hell that was. We don't know what that was. Yeah.
Oh, there's Monique.
And for everybody to understand, this thing went on for like 3 years, y'all. This started in 2019, and as y'all...
What's Eddie doing?
Huh?
Eddie Cloud got it? I know he's from Moss Point. They Gumbo in Moss Point, Mississippi.
Eddie hopped his little ass in here. He
ain't got no pictures, though.
He just started following me.
He ain't post no photos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he ain't post no photos, but we had, and so this was us showing how we prepare the chicken in the pan, the shrimp in the pan, the sausage in the pan. Nola don't know nothing about that. So this was Karen's. Wow. This was Karen's family Gumbo. Yeah, we were not so sure.
Is that chocolate sauce?
See, right? Look, I didn't say it.
Wow.
I did not say it.
Wow.
But there were a lot of people who
the recipe book?
Right. This here, turn the audio up. This is my daddy handling his business.
Damn, that's a big ass pot.
That's one of the 40-quart pots.
You don't have the big spoon. I will. So that's the grilling spatula. Yeah, you can give me a big spoon. I need a long spoon. I thought Hood had bought one.
Well, they are. We were still waiting for them to come back.
So that's a 40-quart.
Yeah. That's a 40-quart right there, baby. That's how we do it, Nola. What you got? What you got, Nola? From New Orleans.
I ain't talking about it. I'm going to be about it.
Come on, Nola from Nola. What you got?
No, I'm sorry. I was just missing my mom in that moment because we always cook together. So
I understand. But that's the love. But I still want to see something. I want to see some photos, some videos, something.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Okay.
Boy, this show is black as hell. I can smell that.
It really is.
Now
Can we go now? Damn.
And Greg, here's what's crazy, Greg. That photo I posted, that video about that was 20. That was that was December 24th. Hell, we did another one 7 days later.
Oh Lord!
Wow! Wait a minute. Where did y'all? What?
I told y'all I had Gumbo before I had breast milk.
Wow. Okay, that's the blackest statement today.
All right.
That's the blackest.
Am I?
Man said he had
that tells
Gumbo before breast milk.
So
I just none of that.
Sharon Malone, Eric Holder's wife. She was like, oh no, she thought what she do. We've been arguing about gumbo, but she only do gumbo, you know, when it's cold. I was like, girl, please. Hell, look at me, 105.
Me and my sister told you the same damn thing.
You out your see that's why you ain't real. Cause see, real gumbo people.
I wish you stop questioning my authenticity.
I damn sure did. Cause guess what? It can be 98 degrees outside and we gonna have some gumbo. You know why?
That's what
Cause we are too legit to
Because in
quit.
New Orleans, we actually have a menu.
That's black. Nah.
Another conversation.
Nah, we are too legit.
That's how you know black people.
We are too legit to quit. All y'all little weak ass, oh no, I can't have no gumbo unless it's cold. Nah, damn that. Damn that.
In the heat.
Nah,
my granddaddy would
real
drink
gumbo.
black coffee in the middle of the summer. That's
we'll
right.
Take a non-New Orleans person.
Boom. We gon' hit that sucker at any time. We gonna sit here. Hey, I don't care. 100 degrees outside. You know what? Just go to my iPad. Turn the audio up. Turn the audio up.
Yeah.
That's right. Too legit to quit. That's us. That's us.
Feel good.
You're fake, Nola. You ain't legit, Nola. All right, we gotta go. We have been black enough for today. We have been black. We have been.
I think that's been settled.
The show has been black enough for today. We've been black enough for today. No, let's go a little blacker. Turn the music up.
Oh, Lord.
Because you don't want a hustle for my muscle, and you look weak to the yeah. I'm going for all that I can get. Kicking it at the top because I'm too legit to quit saying. Too legit to quit. Too legit.
All right, Reese, Greg.
Too legit.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks so much. We got to bounce, y'all. We got to go. If y'all want to support the show, I told y'all this is the blackest show, this is the realest show. You don't get this on no CNN, MSNBC, Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, because they all are unseasoned gumbo. That is not us. All right, y'all, support the show, support the network. If you want to contribute via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here, bottom left-hand corner. That's for credit cards as well. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo's RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Checks and money order. Make it payable to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003, 7-0196. Download the Blast Up Network app. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Of course, be sure to get my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Available at bookstores nationwide. Get the audio version I read on Audible. That's right, my voice. I keep it real. Also, get out Black Star Network, Roland Martin Unfiltered swag, t-shirts, mugs, hats, Walmarts, all that good, wall art, all that good stuff. Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com, shopblackstarnetwork.com. All these products to my left, all these black-owned products you see right here, chips, toilet paper, gym wrap, facial stuff, relishes, sauces. Man, we got it. You all on the website, shopblackstarnetwork.com. And of course, be sure to download the app Fanbase. Get the app. And if you want to invest, go to startengine.com/fanbase, startengine.com/fanbase. Y'all, that's it. Oh, I was going to work the other day. I went ahead, I found it. My Wilberforce University shirt. Shout out to Wilberforce University. President Van Newkirk Sr. Shout out. I enjoyed giving the commencement speech. Can't wait to be back. I wore Central State the other day. And so, y'all let me know on social media who you want me to rock tomorrow. I had Savannah State on yesterday. So, who's going to be North Carolina Central, Claflin, Morehouse, Edward Waters, Arkansas Pine Bluff, and you know what? Texas Southern University still, you know who ain't sent me no gear? TSU in Prairie View. Okay, how the hometown schools and the home state schools ain't sent no gear? Okay, I don't understand. TSU Prairie View. Man, y'all, you know what? I'm gonna have to send a text message right now to the chair of the board of directors at TSU. Y'all gotta send a brother some gear. I'm just simply saying. Everybody, look at TSU. Y'all across the street from Jack Yates High School. I'm just saying. All right, y'all, that's it. I gotta go. I'll see y'all tomorrow right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.